Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. That's right, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from the Fortress of Solitude to the Daily Bugle and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, just disappointment from my standpoint.
Disappointment?
Because we did not get any Last Ronin last week, even though we thought thought it was coming in. So I don't know whether it got delayed a week or whether Funky Town just did not get their allotment or what the deal was. But
I thought it was coming out this week.
I thought it was last week. Huh.
It's in our comic rundown of what's coming out this week.
Well, maybe I should have looked at that before I led the show off with it.
Or maybe it was like a preview or something. Maybe there was something that's supposed to come out last week, but
Could have been, but
I don't remember seeing it.
well, then I'm very excited.
Well, there you go. You can, anticipatory.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Hey, you know where you
Here
can
we
find
are
more
now.
turtles?
Where can we find more turtles? Oh, that's a good segue. I was gonna say, here we are now, but here's where we will be. It's gonna be my segue. We were trying to over segue each other. But Steve, I will go along with your segue. And anyone else, you just pretend this last 10 seconds didn't happen.
Hey, Mike, where can you find more turtles?
Where can you find more turtles outside of a book called The Last Ronin?
Well, last I heard, you can find some more turtles at the Syracuse Collectors Con, since there's going to be many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles related guests there. There will also be guests there that you're hearing talk right now. However, we are not turtle related or turtle adjacent in any way.
No. So you're telling me that people who have portrayed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are going to be in Syracuse, New York, and I could meet them if I went to Syracuse Collectors Con at the Horticulture Building of the Great New York State Fairgrounds?
In 2 weeks?
Is that what you're telling me?
Indeed.
What?
Including actor Brian Tochi, Robbie Rist, Ken Scott.
What?
The screenwriter of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Todd Langen.
Whoa, see, he knows the secret of the ooze, that guy.
He does. He's the only one that knows it. April O'Neil herself, Judith Hogue, Shredder from the original, Francois Chow, and multiple couple comic related ones as well, including Steve Levine and Jim Lawson, artists on the old Archie comics.
You heard it here, Turtles people. Get yourself to Syracuse Collectors Con, sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, March 16th and 17th, the Great New York State Fairgrounds. Tickets are on sale now. You can get them at Funky Town Comics. You can get them on the website, and I'm pretty sure you can just buy them at the door as well. I'm sure they won't turn you away if you show up and try to give somebody money to be allowed in. I'm sure they will let you in.
That I would assume. Now, I did not realize, I'm trying to figure out where Donnie is, because that is Leo, Mikey, and Raph. So, yeah, we'll figure out where Donnie is somewhere. And April. So.
Yeah, there's an April.
I also may have to find a way to get my son something autographed by Michelangelo, but I don't want to pay for it. So,
but does your son associate this guy with Michelangelo?
Oh, absolutely not in any way, shape, or form. Not in any way, shape, or form. Unless your son sees a giant humanoid turtle write the name Michelangelo on a piece of paper, he won't. No connection whatsoever. You are correct.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, I went to a mall near where I live that no longer exists to meet Michelangelo and Raphael, which were two, probably college kids in giant like foam mascot costumes. But to me, it felt like I was meeting the real Ninja Turtles, although it was clearly costumes.
Oh,
they
100%.
couldn't move their mouths or, really
That's awesome.
move much of anything. But I was just as excited as I would be if it was a genuine mutated turtle.
So I did not realize that the Turtles have officially outpaced the Power Rangers as the number of guests there.
Oh, it's turtle heavy now. It used to be Power Ranger heavy. Wow.
Yep. So it's eight versus 6.
Ooh. Oh man, I want to see him fight. Let's settle this once and for
Turtles
all.
versus Power Rangers.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Battle
Turtles
of the
versus
90s.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Who wins?
Oh, that'd be great.
Who wins?
That would be great.
All right. I think that's all the business we got. You come see us at Collectors Con. I'll be selling comic books. Steve and I will be talking to you and about whatever you want to talk to us about, podcast stuff wise. We'll also have some like interactive, probably some voting things we're talking about having at the table. The results of which we will likely read on an episode of this very show.
Yeah, and if you show up at the booth, you'll probably have a microphone in your face because why not? I'm going to be recording a bunch of stuff that weekend.
Yeah, might record your thoughts on the event, your thoughts on anything that we happen to be talking about. So,
and yeah, I will be coming in hot from a conference at
that's
earlier that week. I'll be in Colorado Sunday through Thursday at a Cub Scout overnight Friday night, and then straight into Comic-Con. My brain is going to be toast.
Toast. All right. Let's move on into some stuff. Before we get to our big stories, we have like three. Well, no, because we peppered a couple more in. So we have a few big stories, all of which I feel like have the potential for us to tangent on and dig deep into. One thing I want to mention right off the top, this is a big nerd weekend movie-wise, that Denis Villeneuve's Dune 2 came out this weekend. I did not go to see it.
I almost
was planning on going to see it. Yeah, I was planning on going to see it tomorrow during the day, which is my birthday. But my son has been sick with a fever all day today and a little bit of last night, so I can't assume he's going to go to school tomorrow. So I will not be able to see Dune 2. I hear nothing but incredible things about it.
Yeah,
that it's just outstanding. Have you heard the same? Have you heard anything?
Oh no,
have you heard any negative things about Dune 2?
Everything I've been heard.
Anything
has
you've
been
heard?
Jesus. Everything I've let's reset this. Everything I'm hearing is awesome.
Yeah, same. So even though like I thought the first was great, it doesn't like I only watched it once. So I can't say that I'm like a fiery passion to see this movie, but I certainly love Denis Villeneuve as a filmmaker, so I'm excited to see it, especially if it's getting such great reviews. So unfortunately, we are unable to go in a deep dive into the world of Dune 2.
No, we can confirm from firsthand knowledge, though. Brian in the chat, as well as Jesse, our esteemed colleague over at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, went and saw it the other night, and Brian said it was very good, and Jesse hasn't responded, but I can only imagine he said the same thing.
Great. Good to hear. Some firsthand knowledge there. Something we can report on, something that we can dig into and talk about is that the much anticipated Superman Legacy got a new title and also got its first teaser image the other day on Leap Day, February 29th, which canonically, I learned only recently, is Superman's birthday, apparently. James Gunn, on that day, James Gunn released a photo of the new Superman emblem, seemingly an up-close picture taken of the chest of the suit. Now, whether or not Dave Cornsweet was wearing a suit when this picture was taken, who knows? It's just an up-close picture of the S emblem on the blue suit, and there's also snow all over it, which is an interesting detail. And before we go into the rest of the post, Steve, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but the emblem itself on the chest of the suit is definitely a different kind of design, I believe, than we've ever seen in a Superman movie before. It's very much of an Alex Ross style for like Kingdom Come. Similar, like there's a lot of kind of straight lines on the S and less curves. It looks almost less like an S, although, human beings who see the letter S all the time immediately and know Superman look at it and see it as an S, but I think it's easier to interpret it as something.
What it was supposed to be?
Like a Kryptonian just symbol.
Yep.
Which I think that's probably what Alex Ross was going for when he designed that for Kingdom Come, but so it's still red and yellow, obviously red S on a yellow background, but also the border around the outside is yellow as well. I'm looking forward to seeing like a kind of a pulled back view of it, or like just like an official logo, or the entire suit in general. I was very excited to see this. I think it's something that sets it apart from stuff we've seen before. Steve, I know you're not as passionate necessarily about Superman as I am, but do you have any thoughts on this symbol? Does it feel like Superman to you, or is it just like
I mean,
something new? I don't know.
for the infinitesimally small amount of anything we saw about it, like
Yeah.
it's unmistakably like you see the blue outline with the red and gold logo, and
Yeah.
if you're in the cultural zeitgeist, you know exactly what that is.
Sure.
Even if he could have zoomed in like 50% more, and most people would have like in the know would have been able to pick out, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
the Superman logo.
Right.
So they're down the right path, and also, like you said, I think obtuse enough with it that it's not like the blatant S that you would see on
Right.
occasion too,
Yeah.
which in my brain actually I like more.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
I think it's a cool way to go with like more of a quote unquote modern kind of look, or like an updated look, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's not technically updated because we've seen it in the comics for 20 years or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's like it's from a source material, so nerds will accept it. And also people who don't know that that's a used design can just say like, oh, they modernized the S, it looks good or whatever. You know, it doesn't look as typefacey as some of the other ones have. Now, along with this post, he posted it on Threads, Instagram. It was all over the place. Couldn't miss it on February 29th. The caption for this post read as followed. James Gunn posted, quote, "Overjoyed to be announcing the start of principal photography on Superman today, February 29th, which just so happens to be, coincidentally and unplanned, Superman's birthday. When I finished the first draft of the script, I called the film Superman Legacy. By the time I locked in the final draft, it was clear the title was Superman. Making our way to you July 25th. July 2025. Happy birthday, Clark." So Superman Legacy is now just being called Superman. Thoughts, Steve, from you?
I don't know. I don't want to poo-poo on it and say like it sounds like an announcement about nothing, but like they're cutting the subtitle that was only there because that's what Gunn thought the subtitle might be. So
Yeah.
if they're rebooting it and like creating a whole new Superman thing, like is there a legacy? It just seems to make sense that this is like starting a new Superman.
I agree. I don't know where the term legacy came from.
I think
Obviously,
just
like
Gunn's
you-
mind. It was
Well,
just
well,
like
no,
what
that's
he
what I
thought
mean,
it
but, like,
was. Yeah.
right, but like because we haven't read the script, we haven't seen the movie yet, we don't know what sense that title would have made
Right.
because we don't know what the story is yet. And I agree with you. It's kind of hard. Like I remember when they announced that it was called Superman Legacy, I was kind of like, ooh, what's this legacy going to mean? It's going to have to deal with like his like Kryptonian heritage and his father and Jor-El or whatever. Like, what's the legacy thing going to be about? But like you said, because it's a reboot and because there's never been a movie that's just called Superman, the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie is called Superman the Movie, is the whole title of that movie. Obviously, a lot of people drop the movie, but
Right.
officially that's the title of it. So this is the only film that will be called Superman. I think it's great. I think it's a great start. Simplifies everything. A lot of times I feel like a subtitle makes people feel like they have to know other things about this movie before they go in, you know, like because look at just to use Marvel for an example, a lot of their sequels don't have numbers on them. A lot of their sequels just have subtitles. It's not called Captain America 2, it's called Captain America Winter Soldier or Captain America Civil War instead of Captain America 3. They do that with Iron Man is 1, 2, and 3, but I think a lot of times if there's a subtitle, it puts, especially if we're a superhero movie, it puts the thought in someone's head like, oh, can I see Superman Legacy if I haven't seen Superman 1 or whatever,
Prime.
It's like, let's cut all that crap out. This is just Superman. You don't have to know anything else. It's called Superman. Come on in. We'll tell you all about it.
Yep.
And I saw someone else, I can't remember who I saw say this online, but I think it made a very good point that calling the movie Superman feels like James Gunn's way of saying, I'm not just making another Superman movie. I'm making the Superman movie.
Right.
Like kind of like what you said. This is a reboot, and not only a reboot, this is a reinvention to a certain degree, for certainly cinematically, a cinematic reinvention. And according to his plan, it's going to be the Superman that we see for a long time. It's going to be the only Superman that we know about for a long time in live action films, anyway. So, taking all that into consideration, I think it's a really great move, for sure. And I like, it's strange that a character that has had so many movies about them, there's never just been a Superman title. But the fact that there isn't, I think, is working. It works very well for this certain scenario, for sure. So I'm all about it. All about it. And now that film is underway, filming. I saw a lot of excitement about it online, and I don't know. I feel like there is, Steve. I don't know. Not everybody's social media or online experience is the same. Clearly, many people's are wildly different, but. I'm just wondering if you saw the same amount of I guess I feel in what I'm seeing, I feel that there is a lot more excitement about this Superman movie than I ever remember seeing about like Man of Steel when that came out, or even going back further, like Superman Returns, the Bryan Singer movie. Like, I feel a genuine excitement about this film that I feel like hasn't been around the character even in a while. And is that something that you feel as well?
I think it is. And I don't, maybe that's because there's been so much time off on the character as a character piece. Like, he's appeared in some of the, the tail end.
He was in a side character in most of those.
I mean, even Batman versus Superman, he's a side character. Like, it's not a Superman movie.
He's a side character in Justice League too.
Right. So
he should have been leading the team. That's crazy.
Well, you would think. But it seems like I know I have in the past had some apprehension about anything new Superman, just in general. Like, I have always had trouble getting the character just because he is so omnipotent and so omnipresent and powerful. And I think for I don't know what Gunn is doing, or what this marketing or this iteration seems to be doing differently, but I'm way more tied in or tapped in than I would have been. Might just be hanging out with you too much, but like, it seems to feel different than it has in the past, and I am seeing that in various markets and on social media and that. So I don't know. It might also just be, with the fracturing of Twitter, you also ended up with a little more niche. Like, maybe people on Threads are more positive towards it. Whatever.
That's true.
So
that could be true.
Yeah, it's all a weird situation, but
that could be true. And now I think a lot of it's an undeniable fact that no one is going to restore the Snyderverse. That whole campaign seems to have finally and thankfully petered out. I mean, I haven't seen that posted in a long time. Something I was getting real sick of hearing. And I think, I think that took up a lot of space in like the DC nerd ear. And you're like, you know what? It's pretty official now. Cavill's not coming back. Ben Affleck's not coming back. Like, we can stop talking about this. Like, let's just move on. And I think the moving on has allowed maybe for people to start talking about, like, you know what? I'm excited about Superman, and I'm fine that it's not Henry Cavill. And now that no one's going to yell at me for saying that online, like, I feel more excited. I can talk about it freely. Who knows? Who knows? I'm pumped. July 2025 can't come quick enough for me.
Well, I guess that's a weird thing too. The whole Cavill, like, I loved the concept of Cavill as Superman.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I loved Cavill as Superman, but I 100% loved the concept of Cavill as Superman. Like,
he would have been great. He would have been great
script.
in an actual. Yep. Yeah, Man of Steel is fine. Man of Steel, I think
Yeah,
Man of Steel's a fine movie.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily feel like the Superman that I like, but it's a fine Superman movie. There's a lot of great stuff in it. But then, like we just said, he's a side character from then on, and if they had made a sequel instead of shoving him into a Batman movie, then maybe we would have seen something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'd still be around. Who knows? Who knows? You could dissect the mistakes that Warner Brothers made with their original DCEU all day long. But we're not going to dwell on the past. We're going to move to the future with James Gunn's Superman movie 2025. And speaking of the future, let's talk about something that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Even longer than normal, because we're talking about a show called The Acolyte. Star Wars The Acolyte. Coming out this June, I believe. Correct?
That's the rumor. I don't think there's any official date, but
no official date. Right. Oh, by the way,
drop that at some point.
Before we dive into this, while we're talking about Star Wars, before I forget, I've only watched one episode of season 3 of The Bad Batch, but my God, that show is great.
I've watched 2, and same thing.
So great. I'm watching the first one like, I can't believe this is the same series as Clone Wars. Know what I mean?
Spun off of.
Yeah, it's a spin-off of this show that's like starts so goofy and like kid related and stuff, and like obviously we all know Clone Wars gets to real Star Wars levels by the end of it, but
because I'm watching season 1 right now with my son.
Yeah.
And it's a very different show.
Exactly. And like I'm watching season 4 with my son right now. And just like, so we watched an episode of season 4 earlier in the day. And then that night I watched Bad Batch episode 1. And I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
How much, like, the animation is so much better. Like the way it's crafted, the storytelling, the visuals in it, like the visual storytelling in it with the vials of the blood in the cloning machine. And they just kept like, oh my.
Yeah. That whole Nalase. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Her having to hide things from Omega, and the whole
so good.
Yep.
And not one of the normal Bad Batch characters, like the crew, like
Crosshair,
besides Omega, it was Crosshair, but like nobody else was in it even. And I was like, this is so good. It's so good. I cannot wait to watch more of that show.
Yep.
So good.
So my on that tangent, my son has Star Wars animation ADD. Because we keep jumping between, like, he was watching Young Jedi Adventures and then bounced over to Rebels because he got a Chopper toy that is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
it depending on how you tilt its head, it like comes up with all of Chopper's various mannerisms.
Oh, amazing.
So it's amazing. But so he wanted to watch Rebels to see that, and he watched probably, like, he was getting into it. And like starting to get into the I can't remember. Oh God, he referred to Ezra as something. I think he referred to Ezra as like new Luke or something. And I was like, okay, we'll give it to you. But
you're not wrong there.
Yeah, I was like, okay, even though they're the same age, almost to the day.
Is that true?
I mean,
they almost have the same birthday.
Ezra was born on Empire Day. And the twins would have been born right about there.
Yeah, you're right. Not too far off.
So they've got to be like within a couple of days of each other?
What? Or not, though, really. I mean, depending on how you interpret the end of Revenge of the Sith, then they would be at the same day.
Could be.
Like.
Yeah.
This is going to really derail this. So, like, okay, so Yoda fights the Emperor, right?
Yeah.
And then Yoda escapes with the help of Bail Organa.
Right.
And then they pick up Obi-Wan. Like, how long is that time frame, right?
Right.
I don't think I don't think it's too long between them picking up Obi-Wan and Padme giving birth. But like
it can't be. Okay. So per Wikipedia, which I will hold in high regard because as one does, there was a 2-day gap. So Ezra Bridger was born on Empire Day, and 2 days later, the twins were born.
Okay.
On Polis
Now,
Massa.
it also could be.
I did not know
the
the name of the planet that the twins were born on. Polis Massa.
They were born on a planet. Weren't they just born on a starship?
A planetoid in a dense asteroid field located in the subterral sector of the galaxy's outer rim territories.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
I learned something today.
It also could be the thing like Christmas, where like that's not Jesus's real birthday. They
Right.
just like picked a day that was already a holiday.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, the
be
pagans
less
celebrate
like
this one?
Empire
Let's
Day.
co-opt it. It's fine.
Yeah. It could be the same thing with Empire Day, where
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, it was around there somewhere, but like, let's just do the third Friday of every month. Or, something like that.
Yeah.
Every month is
Oh.
Empire Day.
That was the other thing. So like I said, he has random, like we got through probably 7 or 8 episodes, and then randomly he's like, all right, can we watch Clone Wars?
Oh,
So
wow.
we skipped back to Clone Wars. Straight to, I think I sent you something last night, but Trespass, which I forgot. Holy shit, that episode. Like,
Yeah, man.
that is way deeper than a kid's show should be. And
There
I'm looking
are-
at him like watching it, like the hotels and whatever race Senator Chuchi is. Like the interaction between the chairman and the tails and all that. And I'm like, he's just sitting there like, oh yeah, this is a cool animation show. And I'm just like, this is quite existential. Holy shit.
Yeah, when everyone, I think I said this on this podcast months ago when my son and I started watching Clone Wars, but everyone loves to, talk shit about season 1 of Clone Wars being terrible.
Yeah.
There's some great stuff
There's
in
really
season
some
1 of Clone
bangers in
Wars.
there.
Like it goes back to your expectations about Star Wars when you start watching a new Star Wars thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
you go the first time you watch Clone Wars, you were like, ooh, I can't wait to just see 7 seasons of Anakin and Obi-Wan tearing shit up in the Clone Wars. That's not what that show is about. But once you get over that, if you revisit it, you're like, oh, there's some great episodes. Yeah, that Trespass one, that's the one in the snow, right? The snowy planet with the
with the tells.
Yeah,
And they
tells,
basically
yeah, yeah.
discover them, and
right, that they're not just that they have their own culture and stuff,
Right.
and they need to be.
and the
so
Pantora, it's like a moon of Pantora. Pantorans are the species I was trying to think of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And I don't remember what episode, but I remember being in season 1 where like Ahsoka and Anakin have to take down like a droid ship or something.
Yep.
And Anakin jumps off of the drop ship that they're on, lands on the ship, cuts a hole in it with his lightsaber so he can get in, and he goes in and starts like crazy killing droids. And then Ahsoka and Rex crash their ship through the hole that Anakin cut in the ship, and they jump out and start fighting too. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, this is season 1 of Clone Wars. Like, I forgot about that. This is cool as hell.
Oh yeah. No, and what was Chuchi makes a appearance in the Bad Batch later on.
Is that true?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what episode she was in because I remember the name. Chuchi. It was.
Promise that we'll get to our actual Star Wars news after we talk about. No. Steve says no. Steve votes no.
Clone Conspiracy,
news.
Truth and Consequences, Tipping Point, and The Summit.
Oh, wow. Cool. Wait, she's not that senator from season 2 that's trying. She is?
The blue senator?
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Like watching the episode 1 of season 3, I guess I didn't even look to see if it was directed by Dave Filoni. I just assumed that it was. But if that's the way he's directing stuff, then yes, okay, bring him on to live action, please, because that was just so you can tell. Like that episode alone was like, this is some of the best directed animation.
Oh yeah, that was great
in Star Wars that I've seen. It was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was directed by Stuart Lee.
Stuart Lee, you should direct a live action Star Wars
written
film.
by Jennifer
Stuart
Corbett.
Lee. Jennifer Corbett, you should write a live action Star Wars film. I'm saying it here first.
She wrote a bunch on Resistance
thinks
and has been the head writer on the Bad Batch.
Jennifer, you're doing the Lord's work. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah, and Lee did a bunch of Rebel stuff. So
Oh, well, of
and
course,
Clone
good for him.
Wars and Batman
Wow.
and Back to the Future, the
Batman?
animated series.
Back to
was
the
the thing?
Future, the animated series?
I did not know that existed.
Back from when I was a child?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow.
Remember when I was that end of a child in 1991, we didn't have much for cable up there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember the show being particularly good, but I do remember.
You just
watching
remember
and
it was a
having-
show.
I think I got a McDonald's Happy Meal toy, or a few of
Oh,
them.
it was on CBS. Huh,
Show. Yeah,
I would've
yeah, it
gotten
was a
that.
big deal. Yeah.
cool.
Well, back then, cartoons only aired on regular channels. There was no
Right, the old
entire
Saturday
network
morning.
devoted to cartoons. Yeah, exactly.
Right. When,
Saturday morning, and that was it.
well, no, you guys had
Whoa.
Nickelodeon. We didn't know what that was.
Oh, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that did not
Us
fall
down
into the
south in the big
24
city.
channels and a deer that I had growing up.
Deer.
Oh, the public access channel was a picture of a deer.
The whole time?
Just a picture of a deer.
That's it?
And it would flip
Wow.
over to a notification if there was a notification in the public access channel.
Wow.
And then back to the deer.
That's amazing.
It was
I didn't know
amazing.
that.
Yep. Welcome
Oh,
to Forest
wow.
Sport.
Do you ever, if you need to relax, do you ever just like put up a screensaver of a deer and stare at it, like for old time's sake? It brings you back.
I would
your
love to
childhood?
find that pic. Like, I can vividly
Yeah.
remember that picture. And it's like, I wish I could find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just put it on as a screensaver or whatever on
Yeah,
your
just-
TV, just so you could like for old time's sake.
It's very
Yeah.
zen. Yep.
Yeah. I'm 7 again. That's great. All right. Do you guys remember 15 minutes ago when I said we're going to talk about the Acolyte? I
Oh, yeah.
barely do, but I think I did. Anyway, Amandala Sternberg, star of the Acolyte, they gave an interview this week. Someone asked them about the Acolyte, and they said the following description of the show. And I feel like we've gotten only just like tidbits. We know, oh, it's focused on the Sith or like the bad guys. It takes place in the High Republic, so it's like 100 years before Phantom Menace or whatever, but I don't really know what it's about. So really any crumb of information that I can take about this show, I'll take. And so, like I said, Amandala Sternberg, they gave this quote this past week. Quote, they said, in the context of the Star Wars universe, it's a time of great peace, theoretically. It's also a time of an institution, and it's a time in which conceptions around the Force are very strict. And I think what we're trying to explore within our show is when an institution has a singular concept of how power can be used. We try to provide a lot of different perspectives and answers to that question. The idea is to kind of honor the ethos of Star Wars and ideas around the Force and also challenge them, hopefully harmoniously. Now, the easy low-hanging fruit joke to make here is, yeah, great idea, because no one ever gets upset when you challenge the ideas previously set up by Star Wars. Ha ha ha.
Right. Ask
I mean,
Ryan
as true as
Johnson.
that may be. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I think
this
is
from-
interesting. She's not. I mean, they're not giving out specific. They're very careful to not name what institution they're talking about. There, it's a time of an institution. But this seems like a very thoughtful response and a thoughtful description. But Steve, in general, what's your reaction to this quote? How do you feel about it?
I'm curious because of
Yeah.
what I know about the High Republic. So
Okay.
the High Republic era was, and that's what I was just looking up, was like when it was set. And so it was originally like 400 years before Phantom Menace. End of it was about 100 years before Phantom Menace. And apparently
Okay.
that's when this is set, is towards the tail end.
Towards the end, yeah.
So this concept of the High Republic started, and like a lot of the early High Republic stuff was set in like they're saying a time of great peace, no real conflict, nothing, a lot of scientific advancements, a lot of like they had created this giant space station called Starlight Beacon. As you can imagine, what happens when you create a giant space station didn't quite last because that peace
It's no
didn't
moon.
last.
Yeah.
So there was definitely some rough times after the original High Republic era. So I'm curious
Sure.
if like there's a return to peace before this, or if that was more a descriptor of the original High Republic era, and this will be set differently. Either
or
way,
we're gonna see how that piece turns into
right.
less and less piece as
So
the show goes on. This show might be telling that story.
right, and in like I keep wanting to say classic High Republic, but there's no it's like in the other media that the High Republic has been showcased in. The only crossovers we're getting are like Yoda and Obo Rancisis, and there was one other Jedi Master that was on the council that was a species that I don't think we saw Yaddle, or we've seen Yaddle yet in the High Republic, but there's still time. We did see her in the
Tales of the
Tales of Jedi. So it's I'm very much looking forward to what they're doing with this, and it's gonna be, I think it's a nice way to test out if they can create stuff that feels like Star Wars that isn't the OT or somehow tied into it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or the Skywalker saga, or tied into it, should I say.
100%. That's one of the reasons that I'm very excited about this.
Actually, this is what I loved about the old comics. Like, one of my favorite runs of the old comics was the Legacy run.
Right.
Which was 100 years after the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
And yes, Cade Skywalker still was dealing with a lot of baggage about that last name, but it was, it was very different. And this should feel very different, but the same.
Yeah. That's what makes me excited about it. I mean, that institution they're talking about, I jumped to that being the Jedi, an institution of the Jedi. And because they're playing a villain, then to them, the Jedi are the villains. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I said villain twice in the same sentence, but how they interpret the Jedi would be an arrogant, all-powerful institution with a singular conception of how the Force can be used.
See, but that's the thing, is in the High Republic era, that wasn't necessarily the case. And maybe we're getting towards the end of the High Republic era, that's what's happening, and that's what they're fighting against. Because
that's kind of how I interpret like the Jedi Council and stuff in the prequels. It seems
100%.
like we know this works, and it works because it's been working for 100 years, and so this is the way. This is the only way that we can do this.
Right. Look at all of Samuel L. Jackson's lines in the prequels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and how they are wary of Anakin, and and then even in the
wary of Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
because he wanted to do things differently.
Yeah, and then they can't even drop it in Empire when Yoda and Ben are just training Luke the exact same way that they trained everybody else. Like, yo, it already didn't work. Like, you should know different than this.
And now Luke is falling into the same thing.
Exactly. Then Luke falls in the same trap. Yes, exactly. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Oh my God, the Bad Batch is starting to lay ground for fixing plot holes in Rise of Skywalker. That's what they're doing. Yeah.
I hate it.
I know, but I kind of love it too. And I kind of love it. I was like, because I was watching it.
It still won't make it a good movie, but it will make things slightly make more sense.
Hey, same with some of those prequels. Like,
in all honesty,
Clone Wars plugs holes, but I don't know that it doesn't improve acting and writing.
No, it
like
doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's 100% it. Like, the Clone Wars made my prequel experience much better.
Yeah.
So I had to explain that to my wife yesterday when he was watching some of the Clone Wars, and we're sitting there and we're watching it, and she's like, "So this happens when?" And I went through the whole thing. And I was like,
"Yeah."
She's like, "Well, Anakin, like, because in the other thing I didn't explain was that season 1 of the Clone Wars weirdly doesn't happen in chronological order, which
I know
the whole thing's weird. Like, Disney should just have an option to be like, hey, watch this in chronological.
I know if you look online, there's a way to watch them in chronological
I did that
order.
the last rewatch I did, and it made way more sense.
Yeah.
But I also know that my son would not like jump around. So it's just
same.
like, all right, let's go through it.
And you get it because you remember whatever. Like,
yeah.
I haven't seen Asajj Ventress in a season,
we just
but
saw
I remember her.
We just saw a
so-
great the Saj episode. So
Yeah, so did we.
um
Yep.
God, they need to do Dark Disciple as never
Ooh.
mind. But yeah, I was talking to my wife about how Anakin's arc between 2 and 3 makes way more sense because of Clone Wars.
Yeah, 100%.
She's like, how does it all fit in that like 2 to 3 year span, going from where he was from a kid to what we see in like headstrong idiot in episode 2 to
okay, yeah.
I'm like,
I should be a master.
I'm a master and a Sith Lord in episode 3, but like the beginning of Clone Wars, he's still this guy that's just following Obi-Wan, and it's like they show I was like, trust me, it works.
They plug those holes. Yeah, they make it work.
Now the only thing that doesn't work is that Ahsoka goes from I never thought about this until this moment. Ahsoka goes from Snips to like the Ahsoka that we start seeing in other media in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it's a real quick. There's this one episode where she's dressed differently and drawn differently, and you're like, oh, she looks older. Did she age 3 years between the last time I saw her and now? I don't know.
In the last year.
Yeah.
Because there's is it 2 or 3 years between Sith and Jedi?
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Or clones and Sith, rather.
And I'm doing the thing where I wanted my son to get a little older before I showed him Revenge of the Sith. He's seen 4, 5, and 6, and 1 and 2.
Okay.
But Revenge of the Sith is pretty dark, and so I was like, well, Clone Wars is the perfect kind of bridge to let him prepare himself, get a little older so he can handle that movie. So he's watching Clone Wars before he'll watch Revenge of the Sith. So he's going to have a completely different experience.
Oh, yeah.
Like that you and I had, or people of our generation who Clone Wars didn't exist when Revenge of the Sith came out. So I'm at least like, I may not love that movie, but I'm setting my son up to
appreciate it much more.
Appreciate it more than I do. Exactly.
Yeah.
And people say I don't like the prequels, but I love that people love the prequels. And I want if I can help my son love something, then great. See, I'm not so anti-prequel that I'm going to train that's what I'm trying to say. I get a lot of hate for hating the prequels. I'm just saying. I'm not passing it along. Huh? All right? Set down out there.
I will still pass my Rise of Skywalker hate on to anyone.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be there. I'll sneak word to your son and get in his ear about how good it is. I'll teach him that it's a masterpiece.
Oh, by the time he watches it, I'll have tried on New Year's 15 times to watch it and still hate it. So
hey, you never know. 1 year it might just click for you and be like, hey, you know what? Kind of liked it this time.
Fair enough.
You never know. All right. That was probably the longest and deepest Star Wars tangent we've done in quite some time.
Yeah, and we even brought it back around to the Acolyte.
We even brought it back around. But now, here's another thing that we never talk about.
No.
Sorry, we never tangent about.
Hold on. We still had one more piece of Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We added a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, because, a lot of that, the only reason I wanted to add it in is because we were very excited about it when we heard about it, and then we were relatively indifferent about it when we heard it was a first-person game.
Yeah.
But the Mandalorian first-person shooter or RPG or whatever
it was,
that Respawn was going to be developing for Electronic Arts has officially been canceled. So one more reason to dislike EA for various other things. If you're in the gaming sphere, they're not notoriously phenomenal developer. I mean, they make a boatload of money, but not very. I don't really like anything they end up doing from a company or development standpoint.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. Mike, thoughts on us missing out on a possible? I don't think it was ever confirmed it was the Mandalorian, but a Mandalorian based.
Yeah. I don't know.
First-person shooter.
Similar to what I said when we were talking about the Indiana Jones game being first person, like if you have a character that looks distinct and looks cool, like a Mandalorian or Indiana Jones, like why do you make a first person? Because then I don't ever see the character that I am. Like you have a
Yeah.
very cool design, cool looking and cool design for a character, and you're not using it. That's a waste of time. So I don't know. I think there's other Star Wars games in development and other video games in general that I'm more excited about than the Mandalorian game. So I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I guess that's a bummer, but like I didn't see anything from it. It wasn't. I don't know. First person shooters aren't really my thing anyway. So
Yeah, I think Outlaws
we're
is still coming out, so that's good.
yeah,
That's coming out
exactly.
this year.
Outlaws, and I think they confirmed that third Jedi game is in development. No title yet, but
Yep.
like said, Jedi Survivor sequel. Also, real quick, Star Wars video game related. I read this week that this is not much of a story, but apparently, Saber Interactive, the developer that was working on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the remake
Mhm.
of that game, they used to belong to Embracer Group, I guess, and they have separated from that. And I seemingly Embracer Group was something that was holding back the game from being worked on at full capacity. But now that developer is out from underneath Embracer and confirmed that as of right now, that Knights of the Old Republic remake is still in development. Future may not be completely solid. However, it is still being worked on. So
Right.
that's something.
Yeah, and there's still that Eclipse that was, for better or for worse, the Quantic Dream.
Oh, yeah.
For all
That's
the
right.
problems of Quantic Dream, that was definitely still in development last I heard.
Yeah, I forgot because that trailer was wild, and then I
Yeah.
haven't heard one word about it.
So, yeah, fun times. All around.
Fun times. Anyway, let's stop ranting about Star Wars and start ranting about Spider-Man, possibly.
'Cause we never talk about that either.
We never talk about Spider-Man. We never rant about Sony or anything. Thomas Hayden Church this week. The guy that you may know him from playing Sandman, Flint Marko in Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man No Way Home. Spoiler alert. He gave an interview this week. He was asked about returning to the Spider-Man franchise as Sandman. And he said this wild, wild thing. Quote, "There's been some rumors that they might ask me to do another Spider-Man, and I would do it tomorrow. They've never asked me to show up in another movie, another Marvel film. But, I think Sam, meaning Sam Raimi, I think Sam is going to do another Spider-Man with Tobey, meaning Tobey Maguire.
Right.
And that's the one that, they had an option for me to do Spider-Man 4 when there was going to be a Spider-Man 4. They had an option for me to come back. So if it happens, that would be fantastic." So Thomas Hayden Church is saying that he thinks Sam Raimi is making Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire.
Cool.
Steve, what do we think about this? Do we think this is true? If it is true, do we want it?
I don't care. I mean, I'm not clamoring for.
Yeah,
I'm not clamoring for Spider-Man 4, but if they make a good movie, I'm cool with it.
sure.
Like, why not?
I think after the success of combining Spider-Verse movies and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
I think Sony started throwing a bunch of shit at the wall. And
Yeah, that
I'm
makes
sure
sense.
that there's a whiteboard in Sony somewhere with a bunch of different titles and Spider-Man ideas written on them. And I'm sure that they have talked about at some point having Sam Raimi come back and doing Spider-Man 4 after the reception that Tobey got from appearing in No Way Home.
Oh,
So I can certainly see Thomas Hayden Church hearing wind of this when it's not even really close to being in development. Who knows? I can also see Sony being like, yo, we're cranking out all these shitty villain movies. We got to do something. We got to do something that we can do outside of our contract with Disney.
Yeah.
So I think if Sam Raimi wanted to come back and make another Spider-Man movie in 2024, 5, 6.
Yeah.
As long as he was free to make it the way he wanted to make it, the way he made the first and second Spider-Man movie without studio interference, then I think he would probably crush it.
Yeah.
I think it's the length of time he's been away from it, the experience he kind of got back into the superhero mode with Multiverse of Madness. That was a studio movie as well.
Yeah.
But if they give him the reins like on those first 2 Tobey movies and let him cook, and we get another Sandman story or a cool Vulture story like the rumor he's gonna do with Ben Kingsley or John Malkovich or something. I mean, who knows? If he makes that script, if he writes a new script, I don't know. I got a feeling that if he wanted to do this, he would crush it. Now, what I don't believe is that Tobey Maguire wants to be another Spider-Man. That is way harder for me to.
I think Tobey Maguire could probably use a paycheck, and a Spider-Man movie is a guaranteed paycheck.
That is true. That is a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's the cynic in me, but it's also like, I don't know. It seems like, Toby's not getting any younger.
I mean, and he came back for No Way Home, so who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Spider-Man doing whatever a spider can out there.
That he is.
Moving into comics, you got a review?
I do. I have I guess I don't want to call it a cult classic or cult hit.
Okay.
I
don't call it a comeback.
Been here all night. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Ooh, I remember hearing about that title. I don't know anything about it.
So it's the AIPT. I can't remember what it's used to stand for. The comics blog there.
Yes.
Can't remember.
We're
Crap.
But
they're right on the cover. Great psychological horror.
Ooh, psychological horror.
With and I will add to this with anthropomorphic animals.
Okay.
So usually that loses me, but the art and stylistic nature of it is just awesome.
Yeah.
So Patrick, I think it's Patrick Horvath. Yep, Patrick Horvath writ. He wrote and drew the wonderful little cartoon that we're reading here.
Oh man.
About a bear and a community, and the bear has a dark little secret that's very, dare I say, Dexter-esque.
Ooh. Okay.
And I think that was the original cover, the original A cover.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Dragging a bloody sack.
Yeah. So it's definitely got a twist to it. It definitely feels more disconcerting when it's fuzzy little animals that are
well, I mean, my initial reaction to first your description, and then when you showed me the art, I mean, the art is radically different.
Yeah.
But it's reminding me of Dwellings.
Exactly. That was going to be
But I mean, the art is more like a early Winnie the Pooh story or something than
right.
Or like a watercolors kind of children's book than a Casper the Friendly Ghost comic book. But same kind of thing where like sweet, soft, cute, unthreatening art, but the material is harrowing.
Yeah 100%. And that's about spot on. I would 100% recommend it. It was great. It's gotten rave reviews. First issue leaves you on a cliffhanger that is fitting. It isn't like too over the top cliffhanger, but it leaves you where you want to. You're like, I wonder where this is going to go.
Yeah.
So, very, yeah. Dexter meets Dwellings meets, I don't know, bears.
Meets cute forest creatures.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I have issue 1, Alien, Black, White, and Blood.
Nice.
Yeah, man. This is a three short story anthology. There's 3 stories in this. One is a part 1, so check out issue 2 for the part 2. A bunch of different creators: Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Michael Dowling on art, Stephanie Phillips, Ryan Cady. A lot of cool writers and artwork, and this was great.
Nice.
This was great. If you're I would say that it's more for existing fans of the Alien franchise. This does not really. It assumes that you know what a xenomorph is, you know all the problems with it, you know the issues. There's no, you got to walk in having seen multiple Alien films probably to fully get it. But other than that, if you are a horror fan, if you are a fan of the Alien franchise, this was a lot of fun. Because I feel like a lot of times I've picked up Alien, like full issue Alien books, like they, a couple of those number 1s that they started in the last 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I've gotten those, or maybe in a couple issues of it, but it's like sometimes it takes a while for them to get to what they're getting to, and I get why they want to do that, because the first 2 Alien films really do that. They really kind of draw this long opening or their slow build to this crazy third act.
Yep.
So I get doing that, but in comic form, sometimes you just want like a quick hit of a xenomorph murdering some people, and that's what you get in this. In all 3 of these short stories, they're just really cool. They cut right to the chase. Artwork across the board, pretty great. Terrifying. I mean, different artists for every issue, but yeah, and it's a franchise that really kind of lends itself to. Oh, like that one's great. It's like the black, white, and blood style.
Yep, 100%. So similar to how Vader kind of worked perfectly with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can certainly depict a xenomorph in just black and white, and then red accents just make it terrifying.
Yeah, you can depict the thing that's black and white in black and white quite aptly.
In black and white, exactly. Yeah.
You can also depict. I'm surprised there's not a Venom one out. There probably is.
Why? Yeah. There was wasn't there like a Carnage? There might have been a Carnage, but crazy. Yeah, they should do a Venom one. Well, I don't know. They're hitting Antihero really hard on Venom.
That is true.
For a while, so they probably don't want to spin him backwards.
Of which I'm currently
Punisher.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm currently reading through. Well, we talked about. I'm currently doing Superior Spider-Man. Yeah, and that's I forgot the whole Flash Thompson, Agent Venom as an Avenger.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
yeah.
They lean into it hard. They're still leaning.
I would love it if they just decided to make him a villain again somehow. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I guess the problem is at this point where it's like you kind of almost have to have it be a different symbiote.
Yeah.
So,
but then it's a different symbiote. I want Venom to be doing the badness. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and I guess like Agent Venom was only because Flash was able to control the symbiote.
Yeah.
So maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. How's your 1,000 comics goal going, buddy?
Good.
Quick update on that.
Quite good. We are at 147.
Oh, okay.
So decently strong week. Ended up hitting a bunch of Superior Spider-Man. Got into the Goblin War portion of it, which is it's wild.
Sounds like it would be.
Yeah. So that's been quite the hit there. Also, sorry, I'm trying to find on Leap Day, I did read issues 1 and 2 of All-Star Superman.
Oh, cool.
For posterity's sake, because I had to.
I was just thinking while you were talking about Superman at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
How you don't have like a tie to it. I was like, I'm definitely Superman books. Well, he has to read these. He'll need to read them.
Yep. Yeah, and I know you're not a huge fan of All Star, but I have the trade over there because I got it on half off at Funky Town one hit.
Nice.
So I was
Nice.
like, what the hell? Give it a go.
Well, you know what, Steve? I see it as a fault in myself that I have read All Star Superman twice and not loved it. But I've read it digitally, as I've said before, and I ordered it for I asked for it for Christmas, and so I own a copy of it.
Okay.
So I am going to give it a third try in print.
In physical. Yep.
So all you
physical does
Superman,
hit different.
It does. Yeah, it's different. It is different.
All the Superior I'm reading on Marvel Unlimited, and it's like they hit good, but they're not. I don't know. It's not the same.
Yeah. And then like in the Superman is Grant Morrison, so it's always a little out there.
Yeah.
It's more cosmic. Like he kind of leans into the the space part of Superman a lot.
Right.
And you'll see as he goes along. But anyway, I'm giving it a shot, Superman fans, comic fans. Don't run me out of town.
There you go.
I'm doing what I can do. Anyway.
Kept going with Avengers Twilight, which is still cooking with gas. That is
awesome.
That's Chip Zdarsky at his finest.
Nice. I heard that his Batman run has gotten a lot better.
Is it? Yeah, this is like my brain is like we're teetering on quality wise like Zdarsky Daredevil type quality.
Oh damn!
So
wow, okay.
And this is through 3 issues, so it is what it is at this point. But I'm like, he's really cooking on this.
Nice.
And it's a concept that you hear or you see, but it's like I don't know if it's ever been executed quite like this. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
that's great.
Issue 3, they're breaking into the raft.
Oh, cool.
Like Cap and Kamala
cool.
And so also the X books, Dead X-Men, Resurrection of Magneto 2, which was great. Invincible Iron Man Cable, Wolverine, the Sabretooth War, still going there. Thrawn Alliances 2, and I did pick up, and I have not read Spider-Punk Arms Race.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah, I remember seeing that on the shelf.
Yeah,
cool.
I was like, Cody Ziegler, might as well give it a go.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Nice. So you got a good week ahead of you for comics. What else is coming out this week in your local comic book store? Speaking of aliens, we got Aliens What If #1. I didn't realize they were doing a What If with aliens, but that's pretty awesome. Antarctica #9, Avengers #11, Batman #145, Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries #3, Birds of Prey #7, Blue Beetle #7, Captain America #7, Daredevil Gang War #4, Giant Size Spider-Gwen 1, Jennifer Blood Battle Diary #4, Kneel Before Zod #3, Ms. Marvel Menace number 20, Sensational She-Hulk 6, Shazam #44, Superman 78, The Metal Curtain #5, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Lost Ronin 2, Re-Evolution 1. Strange title, but you get it.
Yeah.
Thanos #4, The Batman First Night #1, The Fog #1, The Spectacular Spider-Men #1, Ultimate X-Men, Venom 31, Weapon X-Men #1, and X-Men 32. Steve, you are highlighting the Batman First Night.
The hyphen is what
you're curious as to why it is Bat-Man First Night with a K.
Yeah, because my brain immediately goes to Spider-Man, and there's a hyphen there for a reason. So is that the case with the Batman First Night?
I don't know. I don't know at all. I'm anxious to see what you're finding. If you're finding anything.
The art looks like it might be. I don't know. He looks a little clawy, and I don't know. It looks very noir.
Oh,
gangsters and shit. Okay.
Whoa, damn. Okay. Weird.
Well,
that's cool. Then maybe it's like a Victorian Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Spectacular Spider-Man is going to be the return of Miles and Peter all in the same book.
Awesome.
Momoko's Ultimate X-Men should be good. I still don't know enough about Momoko as a writer. Her art is going to be great. I just don't know, what she's got writing chops wise. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I read from her was that one Star Wars Visions that she did. That was fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Weapon X-Men does not intrigue me at all.
What is the
So
plot of
that's a bunch of Wolverine variants.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. But
Clever title.
yeah, oh yeah. Last Round in Re-Evolution #1. If we couldn't figure out a different title, I'm mildly disappointed, but that's the best we got. So we're gonna go with it because it's gonna be good. And then Neil Before Zod 1 and 2 were good. So I don't know.
I was wondering
I don't know if I'll grab 3 or
with
not.
Awesome.
I think it all depends on the size of the stack that Jesse hands me from my pull.
Yeah.
Because what I've been, yeah. So we'll see.
You are deep in the rabbit hole, my friend.
Yeah, the 1,000. It's like a chicken and the egg. Like, thankfully, these books, it's not like they're expensive as shit or anything. So it's like, okay, getting a couple books here and there is fine.
They add up.
Oh, they do.
They
you're throwing $20 or $30 at your local comic shop every week. You're like, okay.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, that's a lot.
So
almost like an addiction.
Weird. Almost like I told myself I was going to read 1,000 of these damn things for some reason.
Yep. Almost like that.
Almost. So, you know what I'm mildly...
What?
No, there's no good segue there. I was going to say I was addicted to, but I'm not addicted to them. They're just awesome.
When you were a kid, you probably were. I was addicted to the Ninja Turtles when I was a kid.
So, another sidebar. This morning, my son and I finished TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Cool.
The video game there. That's like the old. You remember the Ninja Turtles arcade game, the side scroller?
Yeah, the side scroller. Yeah, the
like
best.
Final Fight. What was it? Was it Final Fight or whatever like that?
I don't remember.
Streets of Rage and
yeah.
So they put a new one of those out for all of the systems, and it was free on the PlayStation. Whatever the PlayStation monthly thing is.
Store, whatever. Yeah, Plus, yeah.
So it was free on there, and I was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And it was just a fun, button mash, beat 'em up.
That's great.
Turtles thing. So we finally beat that this morning.
That's
just
awesome.
in time to hear the news that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is officially getting a sequel and getting a release date October 9th, 2026. So we did not see everybody's favorite shiny, sharp tin can in the first Mutant Mayhem.
He's in that post-credit scene.
True. Very true.
But not in the movie property, right?
Yeah, he was not the main villain or anything along those lines. But it is confirmed that Shredder will be the main villain. So also 100 times scarier than Superfly per the director Jeff Rowe.
Whoa.
So
Superfly is pretty scary. Giant monster at the end anyway.
Especially the whatever amalgamation thing that was.
Look at my feet. They're made of horses. That's my favorite line in that movie. So good.
It was such a good movie.
Yeah, it's so great. I'm definitely excited that they're far enough along they can announce a release date. And obviously, animation takes a long time. So, 2026. Of course, I would rather see it next year, but I would rather see a good movie 2 years from now. So, last last story of the night. We got a final trailer this week for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Movie comes out March 22nd. This movie seems to tease that we're getting the return of a lot of old ghosts or ghosts that they have previously caught. So it looks like we're just getting more blasts of nostalgia from the Ghostbuster franchise.
After the first one, isn't that all it's been for the last 30 years?
Yeah, I'm sure I will see this movie in theaters, and I want to like it. I really want to like it. But it doesn't feel the same to me. I don't know. Sometimes it just kind of feels like they're trying too hard. But that's just me. I know there's a lot of people that are super hyped for this movie. and I'm happy for them. If you're one of them, I'm very happy for you, and I hope it's great. I hope you love it. I'm just slightly dubious.
So I didn't see the trailer. Who are they bringing back?
Well, that's the thing. They didn't really show anybody.
Oh,
I think we saw. I think Slimer might have been in the original trailer or one of the first trailers.
okay.
But it's just like it shows like the containment unit shaking and smoking, and the title's
Okay.
like every ghost they've ever faced or something like
Gotcha.
in giant letters. I was like, oh, okay. We'll see Gozer the Gozerian, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a AMC Slimer popcorn bucket.
Is it as insane as the Dune sandworm popcorn bucket? that
It
everyone
looks like
talks
it
about?
is. Yeah.
Do you have to put your hand in Slimer's mouth
Yep,
to get the
you
popcorn
do.
out?
Yep.
Oh, that's so gross.
No, what would be even grosser is if they found a way to like make it a like a sheet that you had to like punch through to
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
actual
yeah.
slime. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that thing looks like
Yeah,
the
the outside of the cup is also Slimer's entire body.
yeah.
Gross, and you have to hold on to it the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it's,
Steve's yawning, so that tells me that we should probably, I guess, wrap things up.
yeah, why not?
Why not?
I'm just sorry, I'm stuck in awe of this. Oh, there's a mini.
You can't stop staring at.
Oh
those
no, I
Slimer
keep
popcorn.
finding more things. There's a mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man sipper cup to be available at AMC theaters,
Wow.
and AMC also has a popcorn tub that is the trap, which is
That's cool.
awesome looking.
That's cool.
Like,
I'm into that.
I would love that.
I would love to eat popcorn out of a Ghostbusters trap.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way,
Too bad
if
AMC's around us.
if you find a way to eat any popcorn out of a trap, feel free to let us know via email at themultiverse@gmail.com. Find us on the socials at the Multiverse Report, usually Threads or Blue Sky at this point. Beyond that, you can check us out at the website, themultiversereport.com. Otherwise, I think I covered everything except leaving us a review. So
Yeah.
if you would like to do that, please leave us a review, the Multiverse Report on Apple Podcasts, or if you would like to as well, you can leave us some comments or whatnot over on the YouTubes.
True. Yeah. And if you give us a 5-star review, we will read it on the air. And if you give us a 5-star review and part of that review is a recipe, we will make that food item and eat it while we're doing the podcast.
Right.
Just promise. No one is
unlike-
taking us up on it.
Unlike one of our 5-star reviews from Sunnyside Up 00, that noted that he has a recipe. He's just not
But didn't share
provided
it.
it.
Didn't provide it.
So
Yeah. So yeah, all that. Very last thing. This past Friday, I put out a new solo album called Statues and Stones. Yes, I'm not just a nerd that talks about nerdy stuff. I also am a songwriter, and I do a
he's also a nerd
February
who sings
challenge.
about nerdy stuff.
Yeah, it's true. I do have a couple nerdy albums and many songs. But I do a February songwriting album writing challenge every year, 14 songs during the month of February, and my new one is out now on my Bandcamp page, carolskid.bandcamp.com. It's Carol with a K, carolskid.bandcamp.com. Statues and Stones. You can find all my other stuff there too. But if you like listening to me hear me talk and you think, I wonder what he sounds like singing, you can go and listen to me do that on that album on that page. Go check it out. And,
It's like he sounds talking, but much more melodic.
Yes. Yep. Like this with a melody.
Yeah.
Picture it. But, still prove it to yourself and go listen to that album that I'm telling you about. For sure. And also, thank you for letting me tell you about it in a platform that it's not related to. But other than that, I'm going to go. Steve, you good?
Good
All
here.
set? Yeah. Syracuse Collectors Con, March 16th and 17th. We'll see you there. And until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.